Another top 5 feats video, another spellcaster with some pretty limited feat selections, albeit not as bad as the cleric. Welcome everybody to my top 5 druid feats in Pathfinder 2nd edition. You know I love the druid, you know I love this class that can be literally anything at all, and their feats definitely help push them in that same different directions. The hard part about this video is that a lot of druid feats are locked behind specific orders, and so that loses them a lot of points, because you know that for me to really love a feat, it needs to come online early, it needs to be universally useful, it has to be flavorful, it has to be fun. So let's launch into my top 5 feats. But first I want to give a huge shout out, as always, to all the members of the No Net One's Patreon. If you would like to get your name on this list, there's a link in the description where you can pledge for $1, $5, $10, or $20 a month. They all do the exact same thing, they just support me a little bit more. Thank you so much for even considering it. I appreciate it. Look at that! Look, I told you I could get through a Patreon plug in one take with no stuttering. I'm good at my job! Now give me your money! We're jumping right into this one with an honorable mention. One of my favorite druid feats, but just not good enough to be on the top 5 lists. Verdant Weapon. Gosh, what a cool idea for a feat. You keep like a little seed on hand. This is a D4 that I can't pick up. Like, you keep like a little seed on hand, and then at any point, like a super cool Disney character, you throw it up, you grab it, and now you're holding like a staff. I think it's any simple weapon with no metal parts. You can turn the seed into it, and it's your weapon. You can like inscribe runes on the seed so it functions as your weapon. That's all it does. It just makes it so you look unarmed, and then you pull out a seed, and then you have a big weapon in your hand. That's all it does. And so it's not very like good outside of roleplay of pretending to be unarmed, but it's just so cool and flavorful. That's why I had to mention it here. Verdant Weapon is so cool. I wish it was better. But jumping into my actual top 5, in 5th place we have a feat that I don't think a lot of people are even aware of. I forgot this feat existed until I started scripting this video. Scripting, I just wrote the 5 feat names in a row. But Raise Menhir is such a cool feat. You just pull up this druidic totem from the ground for 2 actions, doesn't cost a spell slot, you can do it a number of times per day, it just takes 1 hour between uses, that's all, and you can use this effectively every combat as long as you're not getting into more than 1 combat once per hour. But you choose any square within 30 feet away from you and you raise this totem, and when you summon the totem, you select Arcane, Divine, or Occult. While that totem stands, all allies within 15 feet of it, including yourself if you are nearby it, get a +2 status bonus to all saving throws against that kind of magic. You are literally establishing a mild anti-magic field against a specific type of magic. So obviously, you need to know what you're dealing with. If you're fighting cultists, you need to find out, are they using divine magic or occult magic? That's a very important distinction to make. But once you have that information, which once again, gives you a really big, nice use for recall knowledge. If you're not using recall knowledge, use recall knowledge. It's phenomenal. It's great for your game. It's great for your GM. Everybody has fun with recall knowledge. If you can figure out what they're casting, you can raise them in near. Your entire party gets bonuses to saving throws against them. Who cares if they throw a fireball at you? If you know it's arcane, you raise that Menhir, and everybody gets a +2 bonus to their saving throw against that fireball. Beautiful. The only thing holding this back is that it does need to be sustained every single round, otherwise it does just crumble 1 round later. So it is a big action investment. You know, it's 2 actions to summon it, and then 1 extra action every single turn to keep it up. Sustain the Menhir, throw out a lightning bolt every single turn. That's a good combo to keep going, to keep everybody else safe. You don't even need to be close by. It summons within 30 feet, and then you just sustain it. Simple as that. Just a really cool support option for the druid. Once again, going with the whole druids thing as well, it's not locked behind any subclass. It doesn't matter what kind of druid you are. Shape-shifting, well, maybe not shape-shifting because you can't cast. Can you sustain? Does sustain have concentrate? It does. Oh wait, but you can actually keep this going while polymorphed. Polymorph just stops manipulate actions. You can't cast spells while polymorphed or shapeshift, but the Menhir isn't a spell, it's an effect, and sustaining does have concentrate, but it doesn't have manipulate. So you can keep this up, you can raise this, shapeshift into something else, and then go into combat and spend 1 action maintaining the Menhir while eating your opponent as a dinosaur. That's sick as hell, really cool feat. Now, number 4 is a little bit boring, and if you haven't been able to tell between the last video and this video, I have a soft spot for the Untamed Druid. I like my shape-shifting nature wizard, so Healing Transformation is my number 4 druid feat in the game because it's super cool and a lot more flexible than you might think. Whenever you cast a non-cantrip spell that polymorphs a target, you can have that target heal 1d6 hit points per rank of the spell. Actually, it's not even healing, it is just restoring hit points. So if you do it to an undead creature, they also get their hit points back. The most obvious use for this is the Untamed Druid, who is going to use their own Untamed form, which is a non-cantrip polymorph spell to heal themselves. You know, if you're level 10, that's a rank 5 polymorph, you just get 5d6 hit points back anytime you shapeshift, which is an amazing way to start a fight, especially if you're not already at full hit points. But this goes even further. If you have ways to polymorph allies or have any effect with the polymorph trait for them, that's another way to heal allies and also buff them. There's a lot of creative ways to use this, and I'm really into the specific wording of it, that it's just when you use a polymorph spell onto a creature, they restore health. You count as a creature, you can polymorph yourself. If you're in dire straits and your fighter's about to die, maybe you quickly just turn them into a bunny to heal them with an actual polymorph spell. I feel like there's a lot of really creative ways to get away with this. It does suck that it's a one-action spell shape, so if you're gonna do it, it does take up pretty much your entire turn, but I still really dig it. You know, you're out of prepared heal spells, the cleric is out of spells, but you've got polymorph. And that fighter's broken leg ain't gonna mend itself. But maybe if he was a rabbit, he'd feel a little bit better. Coming in third place is a really cool feat that was actually released in the remaster, Instinctive Support. If you target your animal companion with any non-cantrip spell, then as a free action, this doesn't even use the druid's reaction, it can immediately take its normal actions for the turn, and one of the actions must be support. If you're unaware, supporting means you cannot make any strikes with your animal companion that turn, but usually they add bonus damage or effects if the druid is able to strike the creature. So a perfect turn with this for an animal order druid is something like heal and a heal companion focus spell or heal animal to allow your animal companion to immediately get a movement, move into position, support, you've got one action left, you the druid attack. By the way, that's 5 actions in one turn right now, and you just attack with a melee strike. If you're already in melee with them, you hit them, your companion's support activates. It's beautiful action economy, and a really just cool way to do it. You are incentivized to keep healing your animal companion, or buffing them. You know, you give them, what's it called? Runic Body to give them an extra damage die on their unarmed strikes. It's just so many ways to play with this. And that's what I'm finding with a lot of druid feats is, just like the druid themselves, there's a lot of ways to use these feats. A lot of these feats aren't just a, you do this and this happens. It's open-ended and ambiguous with how best to make use of it, and I think that is fantastic design. I do truly think druids are one of the best design classes in Pathfinder 2e, and Instinctive Support is just phenomenal. But if you want to talk about ambiguous spells and how best to make use of them, holy, let's talk about number 2 on my list, So Spell. This is another feat that sort of takes an entire turn because it is a one-action spell shape. So you activate So Spell, and then for your next action, you cast a 1 or 2 action spell. But instead of the spell immediately going off, you put it in a seed and place that seed on the ground on an adjacent square. From then on, anytime a creature steps into a square adjacent to the seed or onto the seed, you can trigger the spell inside of the seed to explode, go off, do whatever it is, heal, anything. This does spend your reaction, but unless you're using shield block actively, you're not going to be using your reaction for anything else. This is so cool. You can set a fireball in a seed, and then on your next turn, just get the hell out of there. You can set a heal spell in a seed so that the ally, who's too far away for you to hit them right now, can jog up, and as soon as they get next to the seed, the heal goes off and restores their health. This is the kind of feat I'm talking about with druids. On its own, there's just an infinite number of possibilities based on the battle map you're on, based on the spells you have prepared, based on your own creativity and ideas. Being able to just create a tiny little seed, put it on the ground, and say, all right, within the next 10 minutes, someone's going to step next to that, and that's going off. If you're in a dungeon and you're taking a short rest, everyone else is refocusing, maybe you don't need to refocus right now. You sow your spell, you set it at the entrance to the room, everybody stays on the opposite side, you take watch. The moment anything steps on that seed, fireball. Just boom. It's even cool, it doesn't even have to be a spell slot. If you're a storm druid, you can put your upcast focus spell Tempest Surge in this thing and just blast somebody. Level 14, what is that, 7d12 electric damage the moment they step near it? There's an infinite number of ways to play with So Spell, and that's why it's second place, because it's just cool, it's flavorful, it's fun. I wish it wasn't level 14, but I understand why it is. Phenomenal feat. But something tells me a lot of you, if you've been playing this game for a long time, and especially if you've been watching my channel for a long time, you already know what my #1 favorite Druid feat is. For me, there's no contest. This singular feat is what allows the Druid to be one of the most customizable classes in the entirety of the game. Of course, I'm talking about Order Explorer. Right once you hit level 2, if you don't feel like you vibe with any of the other available feats to your Druid, you don't want to take an archetype, what if you just took a second subclass? Now, you don't get everything else from that subclass, but you do get the associated level 1 feat. If you Order Explore into the Animal Order, you get an Animal Companion. If you Order Explore into the Untamed Order, you get Untamed Shift. There's a lot of cool ways to just get more stuff, and even beyond that, this unlocks the prerequisite for any other feats down the line that are usually locked behind specific subclasses. If there's a specific Storm Order feat you want at level 10, but you started the game as an Animal Order, well, guess what? Level 2, 4, 6, or 8, you can just take Order Explorer, unlock the Storm Order, and you don't lose your Animal Companion. You are just now a Storm Animal Druid. And the crazy thing is, you can take this more than once. Technically, if you want to, you wouldn't be very, very strong if you did this, but you could be a Druid who is a member of every single order. You can be a Storm Animal Untamed Leaf Druid. And that's sick! The freedom of creativity and expression that this feat allows for a Druid to truly become the character they want to be without feeling like they're locked into just one gimmick of Druidity, Druidism, is amazing to me. It makes it by far and away one of my favorite feats in Pathfinder, because Druid subclasses and Order Explorer are designed in such a complementary way that when you take Order Explorer, you're not stepping on the toes of a primary Storm Druid, because they got more from picking Storm at level 1. All you got was the level 1 feat. But it still unlocks the potential for future feats down the road without saying, I'm just you now, but also better. I love the Druid. I love the Druid. These last 2 videos I think you've seen I've been very, very passionate about. Also because I'm getting exhausted, and this is my 6th video I've recorded in one day. Let's go, no, not November. But it's amazing. I love this class. It's always had a very special place in my heart, and I don't see that changing anytime soon. There's my top 5 Druid feats. I was so excited to make this one. We will be doing a martial character next. For those of you out there thinking, oh, it's 3 spellcasters in a row, to be fair, I did Rogue and Champion first, so don't worry. We will get some martial characters in here. Look forward to a bunch more classes getting covered throughout No Nut November. Yeah, November 1st is right around the corner, and we get the ball rolling. Granted, that was 6 days ago now, so who knows? Hopefully the future's treating you good. I want to give another huge shout out to all the members of the No Nut One's Patreon. If you'd like to support me as well, link right in the description. That's all for me. Thank you all so much for your constant support. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. And until next time, No Nat 1.